He who understands you is greater kin to you than your own brother. For even your own kindred neither understand you nor know your true worth. Kahlil Gibran. Hi, I'm John Rose. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And if you're one of my loyal subscribers who've watched most of my videos, you're my family. You understand me better than my own family understands me. That saddens me from one perspective to think my family knows so little of me. And yet at the same time, makes me really feel good knowing I've got so many people who understand me. In fact, there are some of you out there, quite a few of you actually, who've watched every one of my videos. You guys know me better than almost anyone in my whole life ever. Can't begin to tell you how valuable your friendship is to me. You truly are my brothers and sisters. You are my family. We are together as the trim tabs on this hero's journey, here to make a difference in life. And it's sad you can't be a prophet in your own home. It's sad that your own family does not know your true worth, that you possess knowledge that could transform this planet back to the paradise it was before we lost this knowledge. Now, how do we lose it? Well, we pass down our mistakes down to our children. All of our problems begin in childhood. Society attacks early when we're helpless. That's where it all begins. Long ago, we made a mistake. Fell in love with it, got addicted to it, and that's what allowed us to pass it on down to our children. We would never do that on purpose. We'd never harm our children on purpose. But our parents didn't know better, and their parents didn't know better. It goes back 3,000 generations. It's time to break this cycle. And for some of us, we can't expect too much help from our family unless they embrace this message. And in all honesty, they can't wrap their brain around it. That's why I say there's one thing stronger than all the armies in the world, which of course is an idea as time has come, as Victor Hugo would say. And that's where we get to test something to see what we're missing. Most people are not in a position to evaluate what they're doing and what they need to do because they don't think it's a fair trade. That's why it's so important that we get them to take a solid food vacation so they can see what they're missing, so they can go the distance and then be excited in life and have purpose in their life where they can find like-minded people that can become their family. And as our family grows, it gets bigger and bigger, and finally there will be a day where it's going to grow to a point where we can include our own family in on that. Because as the trim tabs of society, we are the rudder on this big ship heading for an iceberg. We are the ones that are the first wave of heroes that's going to get us to the tipping point. And the rudder itself that's turning the ship, that is critical mass, that is the tipping point. And when we finally reach that stage, we'll get to the second stage of heroes, where most people are going to jump on board because they're going to realize it's the thing to do. And then, of course, the third wave of heroes will be the ones that will complete our connection back to what creates this whole universe. The underlying energy that was once inside something the size of a green pea. That's the first stage of knowledge. Flat earthers are going to love this one. The Big Bang is the second and third stage of knowledge. Oh, John, the earth is flat, Big Bang, it's hokum. Who cares? We know that there's a oneness to everything. And it's been known for a long time, but the powers that be don't want us to find that out. They want us to be divided. They don't want us to unite and have one big family. They don't even want families to get along. And I agree. it's hard to get through to your family, because they're still going to see you as what you were when you were with them. And I think everyone knows that once you get out of high school, and you've been out of high school for a while, and you reflect back, you go to a high school reunion or something, and you look at where people are now, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, and we go in different directions. Your best friend in high school might be someone you can't even relate to 20 or 30 years later, because you went in two different directions. But we can change all of that, folks. We can reunite with old friends. We can find a common interest. So we'll have a common goal. And there should only be one goal on this planet. That's to get out of the hell we're in. Get out of these dark ages where we prey upon ourselves. Correct one big mistake, that's all we have to do. It's amazing how easy it is to control the masses. It's really amazing. I was reflecting on this the other day about how most of us are in the matrix. And this matrix or cave of ignorance is created simply by someone controlling our belief system. We can create an entire industry based on the belief that there are chemical solutions for lifestyle-related problems. We can create an entire industry that uses poisons in the name of health just by controlling our belief system. It's that easy. And that's why there's an idea's time has come. It changes those beliefs. And I've talked about this many times about our belief system. And it's a lot like a library with two floors. Top floor, that's the library of knowledge. I've expressed that in my 6-box system. Remember, 3 stages of knowledge. First stage is the knowledge we acquire. First stage in the top of my graph is the plus A box of knowledge, and the bottom is the negative A box of false knowledge. Well, let's think of that as a library. And of course, yeah, our belief system is represented by circles inside both those boxes. Well, think of a library in our brain. 2 floors. Top floor is knowledge. First floor, fiction, false knowledge. The problem we have, my friends, is that there are really 2 sections on the first floor of false knowledge. There's one section of false knowledge of things we know that are false and we don't believe they're true. But that other section is what gets us in trouble. It's that false knowledge that we think is true and we superimpose and throw it up there into the second floor in our library. Or in my 6-box system, we take that false knowledge and superimpose into the plus A box of knowledge, that little circle that is inside that box. And the biggest problem with that, folks, is that we can't learn anything when we think we already know. So the most important thing we can do as trim tabs on this hero's journey is to help people realize that they have false beliefs that they have to put in the right section. Remember, on the bottom floor, the first floor of this library that represents our belief system, there are 2 sections. Fiction that we know is fiction. Fiction that we think is nonfiction. We got to take all that stuff that's really nonfiction, we think is nonfiction, and put it in the fiction box. Because that's what keeps us from going up there into that library and finding the truth. Another way to look at this, if we look at it from my 6-box system perspective or the ultimate schematic perspective, where we have a plus A box of knowledge, and that top box represents all of our knowledge, we could say we have a library that's a huge library. Second floor is all the knowledge, just like all that knowledge in that plus A box. But our belief system is a very small circle inside the box, or inside this huge library, it's a very small library. Now in this library, we could have it sectioned off into different groups, and there's a lot of sections. We don't even have any books in that group or in that section. But what's getting us in trouble, are the books that are in a section that we should know is true and we don't. Because we've been fed lies. We don't know they're true. Again, we can create an entire industry based on a false belief. But we can destroy that industry with the truth. And the problem that we have when it comes to making sense out of all of this, there's too much conflicting information. We can't trust anybody but our own experience. Realizing that sometimes we're actually going to feel worse before we feel better. Now, I explain this in my other videos. I explain it in my seminar I give on how to take a solid food vacation. I explain what cleansing reactions are. We also have what's called retracing. Sometimes we can go back and revisit something we had 30, 40 years ago as a way of getting rid of it once and for all. But those are very short term, and we need to understand them. I gave it a piece number 12. A lack of knowledge of cleansing reactions. A lot of people, when they go to a cleaner diet, it's a cleansing diet and they have detox symptoms, and they think, well, I can't eat this, it's bad. You hear this all the time from the elderly especially. You'll hear them say, I can't eat fruit, it gives me diarrhea. The fruit didn't give you the diarrhea, it's all that other crud you've been eating, and the fruit's cleansing it out. So when we take a solid food vacation, we can support those organs of elimination in a way where we don't have those cleansing reactions. But you have to understand what's going on. You have to understand that we can't reverse decades of living in a matter of days. Sometimes it might take weeks or months. And then, of course, we have to address the issue that we're all unique. And even though there's a oneness of disease, even though there's a unity of disease, because we are living systems and we're subject to the law of cause and effect, there's also a uniqueness of disease because of the ripple effect, and we're all damaged uniquely. That's why it's really difficult to give an overall blanket advice to everybody. Sure, we can apply the law of cause and effect and satisfy those 12 essential needs, but remember, one of our needs is for natural food that deals with our species-specific diet. That is no longer our ideal diet because we don't live in an ideal world, so we might need to modify that slightly because we're damaged. Now, a lot of people will email me or call me and say, John, I just have one question. Well, you know what? Many times I can answer just one question. But many times I've got to ask you 50. And as soon as you answer one of those, I've got to ask you another 50. I wish it was so simple that it was just stop eating food, take a solid food vacation on water, eat our species-specific diet, and that's all we have to do, but we can't. Got to modify the solid food vacation on water and do it on juices instead for most of us. And then a lot of us are going to have to modify a species-specific diet. Hopefully only on a temporary basis. And again, it's because we don't live in an ideal world anymore. And this is where we are right now on the hero's journey. Very few people understand the most valuable knowledge in the world. And instead, they have the most dangerous thing in its place: false knowledge. So, it's almost like we got to burn those books in that library, but we don't want to burn them. We just want to move them from the section where we think they're true into the section where we know it is fiction. And we can't do that unless we have that own experience ourselves. And again, once the trim tabs reach the tipping point, it will be understood that this is the solution. And we'll be able to do it very easily, but until then, it's a challenge, and I know, especially your own family. So embrace the family we have here. And I want to give a special thanks to all you guys who've watched so many of my videos and who truly understand me better than my own family. Now, that's a powerful thing to say, isn't it? Think about it. Hardly no one in my family watches my videos, maybe a couple of them. And yet, I've done almost 700 videos, and I know a lot of you out there have watched every one of them. And you're really special in my heart. You know who you are. Every one of you guys who've watched enough of my videos get an idea of where I'm coming from. That this isn't anything about me. I want to make a difference in this world. And I can't do it alone, but I can do it with your help. And if you can have that same attitude as I do, and if you can stay motivated like I have, for over 28 years I've been motivated to get this message out. If you can do that, we'll reach the tipping point. And we got to do it soon, folks. The sooner the better. Obviously. And for some of us, we don't understand the urgency to it. Because we really don't understand where we are right now. We're at a really crucial time in our lives. There's an ant on my camera. I wonder if he's going to walk in front of the camera lens. Let's do it. Here he goes. Now he's going off to the side. Here he is again. I can't wait to see that go across the camera. Anyway, I lost my train of thought completely on that one. Going back to the tipping point and how hard it is to get people's attention. There's only one way, folks. You got to test an idea as time has come. Tell them when they do it, they're in for a treat.